If you have a model that is based off of transactional selling, you are going to be at the highest risk moving forward in AI to be replaced. Hey, welcome to the Insurance Buzz. I am your host, Michael Weaver. I'm flying solo today without Courtney, and I'm going to be talking about the Great Awakening. I also like to refer to it as the Great Reversion, baby. What your role as an agency owner and producer look like in the world of AI and robotics moving forward. That's what today is about. I'm going to be giving you my opinion on what I believe is going to transpire over the next 5 to 10 years and how you can make sure that you are prepared for it and what your role looks like. Now, why this topic came about is because I've been getting asked a lot, especially now that we own Agency Coach AI, which is the most advanced AI software solution for insurance professionals, made just for insurance professionals by insurance professionals. It was not made by a tech bro. It was made by Courtney and I. And I'm very, very excited about the future of insurance. Do not get me wrong here. I believe that the next 5 to 10 years are going to be some of the greatest in the insurance industry's time. I believe that your role is going to be incredible, that the ability to make money is going to be incredible, and that your job is going to be easier than ever by also utilizing tools like AI, tools like Agency Coach AI. That was made specifically for you. But since we are now owners of a software development company, a true SaaS product, a true tech company, we've been getting asked, Michael and Courtney, what do you think is going to happen? What do you think the future looks like? Now, I will preface that this is just going to be my opinion of what I believe you are going to experience as an insurance professional. Now, with owning an AI company, we do a lot of research as well into human buying behaviors and things of that nature. And I'm just going to share my opinion. It doesn't mean that it's right. It doesn't mean that it's wrong. If anyone tells you they for sure know what's going to happen over the next 3, 5, 10 years, they're lying to your face. AI is evolving at a pace that's never been done before. It's going to happen extremely quickly. And again, there's going to be lots of benefits to AI. I just said that your job is going to be much easier. You're going to be able to be as good as possible. You're going to have data that you've never had access to before. You're going to have ways to service customers in ways you've never had access to before. But that is going to change your role. And the reason why I'm referring to this as the Great Reversion is because what I believe is going to happen is you as an insurance professional are going to have to revert back to the ways that agencies were ran from a customer relationship standpoint, face-to-face, human interaction, relationships that matter, like in the 90s and early 2000s before internet leads came out and created a really, what I call transactional selling atmosphere, industry. Transactional selling, if you're going to continue with that model, in my opinion, now this is my opinion, and then I'm going to get into the role of an agent, but those agencies that you see that they may be the highest performers in your company right now that just transactionally sell all day long. They sell on price. They package things in a price. They bundle off of price. They're not super educational. They're not building relationships. They don't have retention processes and systems. You know who I'm talking about here. No matter how big or how small your business is, you're going to be the one that is going to be hurt the most by AI. You could be the number one agent in your company right now, number 2, number 10, number 100, number 200. I don't care. And if you have a model that is based off of transactional selling, you are going to be at the highest risk moving forward in AI to be replaced. And what I mean by that is transactional selling is all done by price. It's typically done by text message. It's typically done by email. Average phone conversations are very, very short. AI is going to be able to do this. There's already AI technology out there that is doing this in other industries. Carriers are going to invest in AI sales agents. This is not to scare you. A lot of carriers already have an in-office sales team and service team. They are going to convert that over to AI sales agents because that model is already extremely profitable for carriers. It just is. It is a very profitable system to have an internal sales team. Think about when you reduce the cost of human capital, because AI sales agents are just as good as humans at that model. That's what's going to happen from a carrier perspective. And that's why I believe your role as an agency owner, and yes, you are going to have a role in this. You are. But that's why I'm calling it the Great Reversion. Your role is going to be very community-based. Your role is going to be very relationship-based. Your role is going to be very human-to-human based. You're going to have to get back into the trenches, into the community. Think about chambers of commerce, getting involved in the school system, doing things within the local community, fundraisers, things like that. You're going to have to be very, very entrenched within your community. Not only this, you're going to have to get very good at what you do from an educational standpoint. I call it transformational selling versus transactional selling. I've been preaching this for a really long time. And again, this is just my opinion, but this is what I believe your role is going to be. I believe that over the next 5 to 10 years, starting in the immediate future, your customers, humans, are going to want to work with humans. Yes, without a doubt, there's going to be a customer segmentation of around 20% that only wants to work with AI sales agents. Yes, that is true. Let's focus on the 80% that want to work with you. Early research and data is already showing in an AI-driven world that humans are going to want to work with humans, that humans are going to want to have relationships with who they work with and who they do business with, which is where you come in. This is what your role is going to look like, but you're going to have to be willing to get back into that role. You're going to have to be willing to change. You're going to have to be willing to adapt. You're going to have to be willing to develop some new skills that are going to make you irreplaceable. And if you're in the seat right now where you're like, man, I don't really want to get involved in the community. I really don't want to have relationships with my customers. The writing is on the wall, in my opinion, that you might as well start looking for a new career, because within 3 to 5 years, I really don't know if there's going to be a role for you in this industry. That's how fast things are changing. That's how fast buyer behaviors are changing. As good as AI is, and it will help you in your role, great reversion, baby. We got to get back to having relationships, to having conversations, to being able to have commonalities and similarities with our customers, having face-to-face interactions, appointments, getting involved in our community, in our school system, in the different little boards within the community. We're talking about valued-based selling, relationship-based selling. The things that most of you, if I were to ask you, why'd you get into this? To change people's lives, to do something meaningful, to do something fulfilling. The insurance industry is by far the most noble profession in the world. I say this almost every single training in Weaver Sales Academy. I know not every single day feels like what you do matters. It does. You have the ability to have conversations that matter every single day. And that is what customers are going to require of you in the future. They're going to force you to skill up. They're going to force you to develop. They're going to force you to become irreplaceable. Because humans are only going to want to work with the best humans. Humans are only going to want to work with the best humans. Those people that go above and beyond. those people they have relationships with, those people that they have commonalities and similarities with. That's what your customers are going to force you to do. That's going to be their expectation. That your business is involved in the community, that you're giving back, that you're serving on boards, that you're involved in the school system, that you're having conversations that are educational and looking out for their best interest, that you actually care, that you actually give a damn. That is what the future looks like over the next 5 to 10 years, in my opinion. Is it is going to force you to adopt a model that how agencies were ran back in like the 90s and early 2000s, and before that time too. Now that doesn't mean that you can't put your own little cool thing with technology, like being able to meet with people virtually. I fully expect you to do that. But you have to meet with them virtually. You have to have processes to establish that face-to-face interaction to where if you walk by them on the street, they know who you are. You know who they are, most importantly. That was one thing I used to love about being an agent in a tiny town of 8,000 people. When I walked into the grocery store, I had conversations with customers. I knew who they were. I knew who my customers were. That's a big deal. If you want to run a Geico type model to where you don't know your customers and all you do is transactionally sell inside and out all day long, they're going to treat you like a Geico. And honestly, that's where AI sales agents come into place. And why I say that it is hard for me to believe that in the future, if you refuse to do this, that there will be a role for you. Now, time will tell. I could be wrong, because this is just my opinion. But so many of you ask me, every single time I go out on the road, this is a question I'm asked. And so this is why I wanted to share it on the podcast, because this is what I'm doubling down on. This is what I believe to be true. Now, the future will say whether I was right or wrong, but I'm willing to put this out there and say that relationships matter, that you having the skill set to develop yourself in being educational, valued-based, having transformational conversations instead of transactional, being focused on doing the right thing for the customer and just not slapping products on people, going out of your way to meet with customers, doing the little things that matter like thank you cards, birthday calls, things of that nature, being involved in your community, being involved in your school system, being involved in boards, giving back, doing scholarships. This is what I believe will make the biggest difference moving forward in what your role is going to look like to ensure career and job security, to guarantee that you have a place moving forward, that you are willing to adapt, you're willing to change, you're willing to learn new things, you're willing to develop skill sets that make you irreplaceable. That is what your role is going to look like, in Michael Weaver's opinion. Now, there are going to be people out there that say, no freaking way, Michael, no way. And that's fine. That's their opinion. We're going to find out who's right, because that's the best thing about the future, is it's going to happen. It's going to happen. But if I had to double down on anything, and if I had to tell you to double down on anything, double down on relationships. Double down on value-based sales conversations. Double down on retention efforts of your customer base. Double down on getting involved in the community. Double down on serving on boards. Double down on becoming that person in the community that people know, trust, and want to work with. Double down on meeting with your customers and actually getting to know them as a person, building relationships, establishing commonalities. Think about if you met with 80% of your book of business in 2026. Would that increase your retention? Would that increase the likelihood that people continue to work with you even through a volatile rate environment moving forward in the future? If you double down on these little things, this is what I believe is going to make you irreplaceable. Double down on your development. Double down on your training. The way you've done things is not how you're going to be able to do things. Customers are going to require more out of you. Because if AI sounds better than you, there is not going to be room for you. Now, again, your role is going to be very important. Customers are going to want to work with you, but they only want to work with the best. They only want to work with the best. They're going to want to work with those that are involved in the community, that are relationship-based, that they can trust, that they can have relationships with. At least that's what I believe is going to happen in the world moving forward with AI and robotics. But this is a huge question that I get just about every single week, and so I wanted to go ahead and share my message and share my opinion on what I view your role being and how you can get there to become irreplaceable. You need to develop yourself. You need to develop your skill sets. You have to be very educational, transformational, relationship-based. You need to double down on the things that I already talked about in this episode, specifically getting in front of your customers, building relationships, and getting heavily involved in the community. And if you do those two things, I believe that you are going to have an insane next few years and decade in the insurance industry. If you refuse to do that and you continue to do what you're doing, in a transactional way and treating customers like transactions, not developing your skill set, just selling off of price or bundling things and not super educational, that is where I believe that you have, to say this as nice as possible, that you may be getting replaced moving forward in the future because there just won't be a need for you when AI can do that for us. So, with that being said, that is my view on your role moving forward in the future. I would love to know what you think about this opinion. Text me 816-727-7610. Michael, I'm on board, man. I agree with you. We're going to double down on that. That's why we're so passionate at both Agency Coach AI and Weaver Sales Academy. This is why we created Agency Coach AI. To help you know what's going on every conversation, to help you practice every conversation. At Weaver Sales Academy, we've taught the value-based selling framework since we started back in 2018, that relationships matter, that you can do things in a transformational way versus transactional. We believe in this, and I would encourage you to double down on this, but this doesn't mean you don't have to have my same opinion. I'd love if you text me and were like, Michael, no way. And I'm going to be like, tell me what you think it looks like. Tell me what you think it looks like then. That's what I'm going to respond. We'll have a good conversation. So either way, I appreciate you. I love you. Continue to do your thing. Be the absolute best version of you that you can be. And other than that, time and attention are by far our most important assets. I appreciate you taking some time to spend today on the buzz with me. Go out and make it great.